Hello and welcome to this channel. So the reason why we make this video is we got new neighbors, but they are really cool neighbors. So let me introduce you to Mrs. Puschel and friends. So this is Mrs. Puschel. Here we have Brownie and at least Cookie. But let us start from beginning. The last days my girlfriend and I realized there are some squirrels jumping around on the trees in front of our apartment. My girlfriend is a photographer, so whenever she saw a squirrel, as fast as she can, she grabbed a camera and made these great pictures. First we discovered Mrs. Puschel, jumping around on the trees. Look how beautiful she is, with her shiny red fur. She's so sweet, we instantly fall in love with her. And here you see why we are pretty sure it's a Mrs. and not a Mr. Very often there is another squirrel jumping around on the trees close to Mrs. Puschel. His color is really dark brown with a white belly, so we named him Brownie. Later we also spotted a second brown squirrel. We named her Cookie. But Cookie is a little bit shy, so we don't see much of her. After a while discovering the squirrels, we also realized that Mrs. Puschel's stray is in a tree right next to our balcony. What a nice neighborhood! To feel them welcome, we put every day a fresh peel of water and some nuts on the roof, and the following days we captured some daily squirrel routine. After Mrs. Puschel's come out of her tray, she starts climbing on her tree, watching all what's going around. After all looks safe, she climbs down to the roof. Time for eating. And of course to drink a lot. After eating, it's time to do some squirrel work. That could mean to do some cleaning. Or to chill on a tree. Or to survey the area. But first, watch out if all looks safe. So what's going on here? And here? And there? What's here? After she inspected all sides of the roof, she climbs down, running around in the meadow, or then climb up the other trees. After all, then she came back and get into her tray. Some days later, Mrs. Puschel and Brownie had a dispute. So what happened? The past days, Brownie won't stop get on Mrs. Puschel's tree and to investigate her tray. Mrs. Puschel seems very angry about it, and one day, Mrs. Puschel starting to scare away Brownie. The fight starts on Mrs. Puschel's tree. You can't imagine how fast squirrels are, and what unbelievable jumps we saw in the next few minutes. During the hunt, Mrs. Puschel really tries to get Brownie off of her tree. After some situations, Brownie ended in the corner press on the end of her branchlet. It seems Brownie had no way out. He can't get back to the other branches on this tree because Mrs. Puschel blocking his way. To jump down to the 9-meter deep ground, no chance. Mrs. Puschel don't give him a long time to think about it and started her next attack. Sorely in need to avoid the attack, Brownie jumps 6 meter wide and 2 meter deep to the branch of the next tree. Unbelievable. But Mrs. Puschel is not done yet. She climbs down to the roof, down to the bottom and runs fast to the tree Brownie is hiding. Another fight goes on. Like cats running fast on the ground, the two squirrels running fast the trees up and down from branch to branch. After some minutes the fight was over and Mrs. Puschel came back to her tree. Brownie was seen some trees far away and taking a rest of his escape. We was wondering why Mrs. Puschel was so overprotective, and after some research we thought Mrs. Puschel maybe could have some babies. The next day we decided to install a hanging feeding box for birds and squirrels on the tree far below of Mrs. Puschel's tray. So Mrs. Puschel was not seen, but look who's climbing quite cheeky again on Mrs. Puschel's tree. And also Brownie again investigate her tray. Later Mrs. Puschel was back. After a short time she spotted the feeding box and makes some squirrel noises. So maybe she was not happy about it? The next thing happened, so we don't know the real reason. Was it our feeding box or that Brownie still doesn't respect the privacy of Mrs. Puschel? But Mrs. Puschel was going to move out. The next few minutes later, we saw her coming out of her tray, climbing down the tree and running away. But she was not alone. She carrying one of her tiny babies with her. Oh wow. So squirrels can have up to 8 drays. When they decided it's not safe enough, they moved to another dray. We were really sad about this. But the next days we still saw Mrs. Puschel and Brownie sometimes, but more on the opposite side of our building. One day my girlfriend found some well-placed nuts in the rain gutter and plants from our balcony. Wow, these little climbing masters. So we decided to place also a pail of water and some nuts on each of our balcony. And let's see what happens. But this you will see in our next episode. We hope you enjoyed this little squirrel story, and if you want to know what happened next, just look forward to our next video.